Hello, and thanks for joining us on Africa Independent Television AIT, and welcome to the Signature Show. I'm Mwabweze Njoku. Now, this Sunday, we begin our two-part focus on the challenges to Nigeria's real and full development as a nation capable of developing a caring, functional, and dependable society. We will, in the next two editions of the program, ask the questions: does destiny count in addressing national development? And to what extent can a people cast all their development burdens on God and expect results? We will interrogate our national religious attitude to seeking divine intervention in resolving our development challenges. This Sunday, we will raise the question: in building a great nation, how much burden can a people cast on God? That will be in our interview segment. Well, let me welcome you to the conversation segment of our signature show. Nigeria as a country is going through difficult times. I'm not the person stating this for the first time. Our leadership, our president, leadership in the National Assembly, our governors, our religious leaders, everybody seems to be agreed that Nigeria is passing through tough times. Now the question is, when a society is passing through difficult times, are there no responsibilities people have to help that society come out of those difficulties? Even in normal development, are there no duties that ordinary citizens should perform to help improve the development of society? Civilizations, don't people have roles to play in bringing about civilizations? This Sunday, we'll be speaking with men of God, pastors, priests. The reason is very simple. Supplication seems to be Nigeria's answer to every of its challenge. Pray that the nation may know peace. Pray that the nation may develop. Pray against insecurity. Pray against underdevelopment. Maybe I'm not quite right. I'm not an authority to speak on these things. This Sunday, I have with me Pastor Martin. I think along the line, Pastor Martin will give us his full names. We came to him because he is a priest of the current generation, of the current thinking, of the current order. Pastor Martin, let's welcome you to our conversation.
It's a pleasure, sir.
Let me ask you a simple question. Has the individual any role to play in building his society?
Yes, thank you so much, Chief Mwabweze Njoku. As he has rightly said, my name is Pastor Martin Jomeyo Irorigoyibi.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Thank God I did not hazard the pronunciation of that name.
It's difficult to be,
I'll try along the line.
Yeah. Martin Igoyibi. I'm a chartered accountant. I'm also a chartered economist. And I am a pastor, the senior pastor of Divine Heritage Christian Church. Now back to your question. You see, God created this earth, delineated nations, peoples, and gave governance to his people. And also created us with wisdom. That is the reason every one of us have brain, so that we can think for ourselves. We should seek for knowledge and know what to do. So in terms of nation building, God will not come down and build a nation. It is the people that will build the nation. It is the individual that knows what he needs and set forth to do what is right, so that he can create a conducive, a peaceful, and a buoyant environment for himself. So individuals, yes, have enormous role to play in national building and development.
You know, I began this conversation by raising doubt. Some of my colleagues, some of those watching, may say, no, this man is not a believer. If I go to 20, 30 churches in Nigeria today, each of the congregation will be asking God to kindly intervene and save insecurity, save national challenge, save a possible calamity. Even when politicians are busy debating and the country seems to be on the brink, the ordinary person goes to church, goes to mosque, and say, God, help us that this country should not scatter. Of what consequence is that kind of prayer?
Well, there are prayers that God does not answer, or God does not answer. There are prayers. What are those type of prayers? When you know what to do and you decide not to do it, God leaves you to your faith. There's a scripture that says, he that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is a sin. So God looks at you as a sinner. You know what to do. You refuse to do it. It's just like somebody having waterlogged area, bushy environment, and then you have mosquito infested room and house. You didn't use mosquito net. You have malaria. You say, God, heal me of malaria. Yes, God may heal you, but he expects you that next time you should know what to do. So prayer alone does not solve the problem of a nation. I would say prayer may contribute to about 25%. But God wants you to do what is right. God will give you peace. He will give you health. He gave you land. He gave you the technology. But he will not send angel to plant the crops for you. He will not send angel to harvest it. He will not send angel to set up businesses to process them. He has given you the money. He will not send angel to teach you how to use them. So when you know what to do and you are going to mosque and you are going to church and you are not doing it, God only laughs at you. Listen to me. There is a popular scripture in the Bible, Deuteronomy 28, that opens, because almost every church and everybody quotes it for blessings. But we should not forget that it opens with a verse that said, if you do what is right, you obey what God says, then you do what is right. So when you know what is right and you didn't do it, schools are dilapidated, teachers are not well paid, and you expect that God will come down and impose super knowledge on the children, it is not possible. Let's say country like Nigeria, killings are going on everywhere. Nothing is being done or substantially done to stop it. And you say, God, come and stop the killing. It does not work like that. So God gave us responsibility at creation and after creation to do what is right. The question is that, do we know what is right? Yes, we know what to do. But we have allowed our heart and our sense of personal aggrandizement and interest to overshadow our sense of responsibility. That is where the problem is coming from.
Now, please, I'm picking on that word responsibility.
Yes.
When a society fails to discharge its own responsibility for its development, for its own security, for the welfare of its members, what kind of consequence does that society face?
Very fatal. It is suicidal. Chief, let me ask you one question. We are in a country where we may know what to do, but we decide not to do it. I've often asked this question. Do we have the statistics, for example, of how many graduates come out of the higher institutions in Nigeria every year? Do we have accurate unemployment rate or employment rate? Do we actually have accurate statistics that border on the demographic structure of this country? Do we know how many children are being born every day? Countries that want to develop are countries that have accurate, up-to-date information about the people. You want to create employment for how many people?
And what kind of
And what kind of employment? It's not just enough registering a place that says go and register, will give you 30,000 every month. Is that what actually will bring development? It is laudable. But what I'm trying to say is that, do we have information? We live in a country in which if census comes today, national census, somebody will count his goats and count his plates and count his houses as human being. The National Bureau of Statistics, for example, if you go there and say, give me the number of unemployed people, do we have it? Is there any system where they are registered, where they are listened to, whereby if you come out from a school and you've not got a job in the past 2-3 years after graduation, the government knows about it? I don't think so. Do we have actual statistics of how many people die every year or every month in this country? Today we hear of killings everywhere. We don't even know who we are catering for. So governance is about knowing the people you are governing, what they are facing, and then you share responsibility. You do your part and educate the people on how to do their part. So the responsibility is not in the hands of God. It is in our hand. Doing what is right. God will not come down and do road for anybody. He has given you the land. He has given you the stones. You have the sand. He gives you the technical know-how to produce cement, to produce bitumen. There are able-bodied men available to do it. And you are praying, God, give us good roads in Nigeria. It will not happen. When somebody like the Nigeria society, where we have public officers or civil servants that work and retire. Now this man has spent all his years serving the government. And then by the time he retires, to get his retirement benefit, some of them die queuing up. Some of them from one verification to another. There is no system to actually verify that immediately this man retires, this is his money in 2 weeks. And you are praying to God to come and help us. So how will that person, when he's in service, not think of securing himself now by illicit fund that doesn't belong to him, because he knows that by the time he retires, he may never get it till he dies? I taught my congregation some few months ago that the difference between a successful nation and a backward nation, a developed nation and undeveloped nation, a successful person and a backward person, is the sum total of the differences in their strategic thinking. America is great today, they think where they do the right thing. Britain is great today, they think where they do the right thing. China is great today, they think where they do the right thing. Singapore is great today, they think where they do the right thing. Look at what Ethiopia is going through now. Transformation. Look at Rwanda. It's not prayer. Prayer is good. God encourages. I'm a pastor that prays. But there are many things God will not do for us.
There are many things God will not do for us. Thank you very much, Pastor, and for your coming. If you go to Amote Parks today, people are embarking on journeys.
Yes.
They are afraid of being kidnapped. They are afraid that the roads are bad, there could be accidents. And somebody sits down immediately and raises his voice in song. Thereafter, and that person begins to pray against blood-sucking demons that cause accidents on the road, against the spirit of kidnapping. I'm not being ridiculous. Can such prayer avail people anything?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Talk to me.
You see, God hates oppression. And God defends the oppressed. These people praying this prayer, they don't have the power to do the roads. They don't have power on their own, poor people, to fix the hospitals. They don't have the power to change so many things. So all they can resort to is a God who will not neglect them because their leaders have neglected them. Their leaders have neglected them. So when they are praying against blood-sucking demons, those blood-sucking demons could actually be the leaders who have neglected them. That is it. Recently, I read in the news that some senators and top government functionaries have started going through the railway from Abuja to Kaduna. Why? Because the rate of kidnapping on the Abuja-Kaduna road has skyrocketed. If few kidnappers can render a nation helpless, place us under distress, where are the soldiers? Where are the security forces? We are not talking of pan-Nigeria. We are talking of just a stretch of road. People that are supposed to fix these things are dodging it. And you pray, God, come and arrest kidnappers. How now? When you have the power to arrest them. How many are they? We are talking about Fulani herdsmen. We are talking about banditry. What is the percentage of those people troubling us compared to the percentage of the population and the soldiers and the armies? And you say we don't know what to do and you are praying to God? You know what to do. We know it. So negligence of the right thing to do is our bane. It's our bane. Negligence of go to higher institutions and you see students standing up to receive lectures, and tomorrow you want them to be responsible scholars. How does it work? As we are talking today, we don't have a national carrier in Nigeria. There is nothing like public sponsored transportation system any longer, because even the government-owned transport lines, most of the buses there are individually owned, that they just register under the aegis of the transport companies of the states. Therefore, they still charge as much as others. So who will help the people? That's why they run to God. Who shows mercy? Who can deliver from oppression? Because those who are supposed to help them have neglected their responsibility. So they have to do it for themselves.
Pastor, I'm not leading you to making a hard comment.
No.
I'm going to ask you a question.
No.
When a leader who has, by the permission of God, gotten into a position of leadership,
yes,
fails in looking after his charge, the people, does it have consequences for him?
Very deadly consequences. You see, leadership belongs to God. It's God that gives power to be a leader. So first of all, the leader is responsible to God, who allowed him to be so. I'm not only talking of political leadership. I'm talking of leadership economically, socially, even religious leadership. Today I'm a leader. I am the human head appointed by God to oversee a church. I'm a leader. I have responsibility to play. I am appointed by God. The first question you ask yourself as a leader is, are you better than the people you are ruling over? Never. The president today, the governors, the senators, they are not the most intelligent. They are not the most hardworking. They are not the most qualified of men. But God allowed them to be so. And to be in such position. So, number one, you should appreciate God as a leader, that God even allow you to be there. Number two, you should appreciate the men who also allow you to be a leader over them. When a leader have disregard for others, the people under you will learn to have disregard for others, whether in the church, in the mosque, in the government,
in the industries or anything. And the consequence is very grave because, number one, God will reject you. In the Bible, we see God rejected Saul. Number two, the people will reject you. It is worse for the people not to be able to protest against you, for example, because they know if they protest, they will be killed. They will be harassed. But they are protesting in their spirit. They are protesting in their mind. They are protesting in their mentality because they are mentally tortured. And that protest, when they cry to God, the Bible says, God will judge the leaders. So everybody in leadership position has an onus to make sure that what kept you there, which is the people and God, should be respected. And let me tell you, Chief, every leader knows what to do. I will still go back to that. Every leader. When you are appointed as a president, elected as a president, or as a governor, or as a local government chairman, or even as a councillor, you are told this is your responsibility. You swore an oath, I will be liable to the people. I will defend the Constitution. I will protect the people. I will provide for them. I will use their resources to help them. So you know what to do. So the negligence of what to do will lead to grave consequence. Even the conscience alone of that person, whether it is dead or alive, should tell you that you have failed yourself, you have failed the people, you have failed God. And I'm talking of whether you are a political leader or a religious leader like me. And let me tell you that nobody lives forever. The greatest thing we leave for people behind us. The greatest we leave for people behind us. The most important is not property. It's not property. It's not money. Somebody could steal billions now and he dies. Oh, the generation of his children will never suffer. They will suffer. The greatest is a good legacy, a good name, a good will. Somebody could be president for 8 years. After you have left, what will people say? You could be a local government chairman. After you have left, what will people say? You could be a pastor of a church, a leader. You maltreated people and you didn't do what is right. When you have gone, because everybody must die one day, what will people say? They will even curse your grave and curse the generation of your children. Look at all of them that mismanage our resources. Where are their children today? Sir, there are grave consequences. And we can't run away from it.
Grave consequences. I want to cap this conversation. There are accounts to be made in heaven. I don't know where it is. There are accounts to be seen on earth. That is my interest. You go to Germany, as you said, it's developed. You go to US, it's developed. You go to UK, it's developed. As a Christian leader, with our underdevelopment of Nigeria, what will you speak to our underdevelopment and what will you say to Nigerian leadership?
Let me come this way. Not too long ago, I was in a country with some few colleagues, not Nigeria. And then there was an outing. And during the outing, almost every street, even in rural areas, the suburban areas, they were seeing street lights erected. But it's a daytime, so they couldn't have been on, switched on. Then one of my colleagues asked the guide that was guiding the tour and said, all these street lights, do they work at all? The guide was a lady. She became very angry at that question. Very, very angry. And asked my colleague, why are you asking a foolish question? Please don't try to ask such questions here again. It's very, very foolish and very insulting. My friend was surprised. He said, What did I say? I only asked whether this light was working. The lady asked back, how do you think the government in their senses will erect street lights that will not work? Chief, do you understand that question?
Taking that service for granted.
Yes.
Ordinary.
He said, do you think a government can come and erect street lights
that will not work?
That will not work? He said, how do you think our leaders are?
But CCTV cameras do not work.
No. What am I trying to say? These are street lights. The lady was angry that it is an abuse, to the integrity of their leadership. It's an insult. How will you even think of that? That they will do what will not work? Then I say, oh, sorry. We know where you are coming from now. Let me tell you. In our country, we have street lights. They don't work. We do have electrical installations. You only see light. Although there's improvement now. You understand? We have roads that are not maintained. It's the government that's supposed to have maintained them. We have hospitals. The beds are there. But the equipments are not there to take care of the people. Our leaders abandon them and go overseas to treat even dogs. Not even themselves. He said, that's where we are coming from. So that is why I'm trying to tell you. Leadership is not a position. It is a responsibility. Leadership is not the seat. It's not the nomenclature. It is the weight of the responsibility that goes with it. It's the weight. So what are we going to do? Let us going back. Nigeria always say drawing board. We have drawn so many things on the drawing board and it is filled up. Let us think strategically. Our leaders always visit other countries. What do they learn? We have pastors who visit other countries. What do they learn? We have learned enough. Paul the apostle told the Corinthians, he said, you have always learned. You have learned enough. Put what you have learned to use. Faith without work is dead. When you know what to do, you don't do it. To you, it is iniquity. It is sin. Let us go back and get accurate statistics. How many people are actually employed? How are the schools working? As a pastor, sometimes some of my members are referred to public hospitals. You get there and say there is no bed space. Go to Asokoro today. Go to Maitama General. No bed space. There are people that actually die because they could not afford the private hospitals. It is not enough, me as a leader, I know this person is married, have children, needs to pay house rent, needs to take care of his health and the health of the family, and every day I'm laying hands, say, be healed, be free, be fed, be clothed by God. It doesn't happen like that. When it is in your power to empower that person to generate income to take care of these things, and then you are crying to God, it doesn't work. So for religious leader, let us do more than praying. Let us do more than preaching. Let us do more than counseling. As much as is in our hand, the Bible says, do good. Let's know those we can actually assist with what is coming to our hands. It will be better for us. We will raise more responsible people. Because I still believe, especially as Christians, we are the hope of this nation. Why do I say so? What we teach the people: to be responsible, to love, to have peace. For example, we teach Christians, somebody will even kill you, and you say, okay, still maintain peace, still forgive. So if every one of us can empower our people as leaders, we will achieve this thing. And when those who don't believe in our faith see the difference in us, they will follow. But when you have a Christian in politics, in the industry, still doing what he knows or she knows is not right, God will not come and force him to correct anything. So, Chief, there is a great responsibility in our hands. Not that we don't know what to do, as I've always said, but we refuse to do it. And the Bible says, he that knows what to do and does not do it, to him it is a sin.
To him, it is a sin I do not know what to add to this, except to say that those last words are strong and advisory to our leaders at all levels of our society. You know, he says, what to do. Don't harden your heart. Do those right things. Because if you don't, it's a sin. Let's thank Pastor Martin for this conversation. Pastor Martin, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for...
My name remains Mwabose Njoku. It never changes. Good afternoon.